Hey everyone, I'm here again, and this time we're going to take a look at the prototype version of Jungle Road. Jungle Road begins about... Well, actually, you should recognize this part if you've played the final version. There was a bridge right here, and it was part of beach level.
The technology, the real trick of it, is still in there. In a darkened room, in an empty building with a dirty floor. It waits. The flashpoint. The origin of Jurassic Park.
Yep, that's right. It's right before... It's that little hill right before the monorail tracks. So we're just going to go this way. And as you can see, the monorail station is just right up there. And that beep sound was a missing sound. I don't know what was supposed to go there, but there's nothing there now. But yeah, right around here, a raptor would come out from behind a rock in the final. In Prototype 96, there's no raptor behind a rock there. Yeah, this area is pretty bare bones with comparison to the final version.
This was the place. This used to be just an urban myth.
And as you can see, it's got better ground textures, but it's not as detailed as the final. There's even fewer things to look at here. We have some stacked crates. Now, they ended up not using these in the final version. For whatever reason. They can be found in Jungle Road's basement, as well as the basement of a few other levels. For those of you wondering what a basement is, it's just a place where the developers put template objects for things they wanted to place in the level. Basically, it's an area out of bounds where all these objects are. And stair physics suck on this monorail track thing.
Welcome to the city of tomorrow.
I'm sure you've probably noticed the broken box that plays the "Welcome to Site B, an InGen research facility," blah 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 blah, and then it dies. Yeah, it's not there. There's also a voiceover that doesn't play in the final version and Build 96.
I was a freshman when they had the first rumors. We watched it on the TV news in the common room, drinking cocoa from the kitchen. I said it would be nothing. Just another cold fusion.
And there was another beep there. Also, as you can see, the door can be opened here. Like it could in Build 96. You have to be careful here, though, because that bar likes to go flying. And also, the door seems to want to open in a set direction. And now I am pinned against the door. Get out of my way, you stupid door. Okay, there we go. And here we are, right where the beginning of Jungle Road is in the final. Now, I'm sure you've probably noticed the pixelation in the background. Seems like the length of distance textures are all screwed up. if I continue that way, eventually it'll lead me to a waterfall and pond. The waterfall was moved around in the final version of Jungle Road. You can find it right near the part with the Triceratops fighting the raptors. But in the original idea was for it to be in between the monorail. In the center of the monorail track loop that you see at the end of the level. Also, the dinosaur tooth isn't here, in case you're wondering. There's hardly anything here. Oh, and I found out what that glitchy super run does. Let me save my game first. Turns out it's not a glitchy super run. It's a ragdoll button. Though it does seem to push Anne forward. And as you can see, she's in danger of falling over. So we'll just load the save again. And there we go. Now,
an idea brought me awake one morning in New York. I almost didn't write it down.
But yeah, as you can see, the monorail track supports are all lined up here like they usually are.
It was the flowering of an ambition born 50 years ago. 50 years' struggle come to this.
Okay, so I don't want to touch this chair, because if I do, it'll explode and it may crash the game. Also, this is kind of like that phone. It's a call box. It doesn't do anything, though, sadly. And for some reason, I'm stuck in the ground. What the? Okay, I have no idea what I just did. It's like super weird. Well, as long as it doesn't get me into trouble, I don't really care. Though it does make progressing through the level a little bit easier. No, it seems like I'm stuck on the ground. Seems like Anne lost her leg physics. Whoa! Holy crap! I just got a moon jump! How did I do that? So apparently, I can just moon jump through the level now. Which is kinda cool, but at the same time, not really. Should probably bring up Anne's model at this point. You'll notice it's a black shirt instead of a white shirt. Seems like her earlier model was a black shirt model, and then they went with a white shirt, and then it became the other one. This model has a ring on it. Whoa. But yeah, this model has a ring on it too, like she does in the final. Now, this black shirt model has some problems with the wrist.
An idea brought me awake one morning in New York. I almost didn't write it down.
May not be as obvious unless you're holding something, but it does. Yeah, that moon jump thing was weird, but when I started floating away, that was the end of it.
It was the flowering of an ambition born 50 years ago. 50 years' struggle come to this.
Also, you've probably noticed that Hammond's voiceovers don't have the echo. A number of the voiceovers in this prototype don't have any echoes added to them. There were a few in the prototype version of Jungle Road, but in build 96, but not really enough to go off of. Seems like those were the last ones to be edited to have the echo. Now, if I remember correctly, the final version of Jungle Road doesn't have this little pit here. But I think it was mentioned in the 1997 walkthrough, but I can't remember where or what it was for.
Sunlight angled down through the dusty air in Norman's office, and I leaned against a solid oak table as I outlined my plans for international genetic technologies.
But yeah, a similar puzzle would be incorporated in the final version on the opposite side. But yeah, we're going to continue following the monorail. I'm also going to come up here and show you guys something. I'm not really sure what the purpose of this was, but they had a little chasm you could travel through here. Or a little gorge, or whatever you want to call it. And there's trees that are lined up there. Now, what's interesting about this is that this chasm was kept all the way to the final version, though some parts of it were closed off and raised. But the logs and stuff were still left. There's lots of indications that Jungle Road was never completely finished, even in the final version. Okay, this barrel definitely wasn't there in the final. And I'm not sure about this downed tree, but I don't think it was either. Actually, I don't think that downed tree is even used in most of the retail levels. If it was redone. Anyway, back onto the main trail. Blue dot. Okay, so we're back on the main trail now from what would be the main, what would be the main trail in the final build. Now, there's the shed up ahead. There's almost no dinosaurs in this level, sadly. The only dinosaur is a very glitchy Triceratops. Something fun to note is that in addition to the basketball, we have a golf club, which, by the way, you can smack the basketball with, but I don't recommend it because it may send you flying. And also, you got a horseshoe toss. Now, the horseshoe toss was in earlier versions of the level. Actually, I think in build 96 it was moved to the other side of the shed over here. But it doesn't serve much purpose in this because there's no throwing button. Because as I said in my previous video, throwing was added as a hack close to the end of development. Anyway, I'm going to save my game just in case the game would happen to be stingy and crash. This thing's also one solid object. In the final, it's several. And this door likes to give trouble. but the interior is pretty much the same as Build 96. Oh, holy crap! The whole door came off! I didn't want that! But yeah, here's inside. The only thing in here is a crushed soda pop can. That poster's there in Build 96, but it was removed in the final for some reason. What's in here? Nothing. Oh, also, there's an AK-47 with a drum magazine here. The sound for it seems to be a placeholder, though. Oh, and also, right here is a cult. It still doesn't have any sounds. Now, this cult is actually still in the final version's Jungle Road, and it's located in the level's basement, floating high up in the air. It doesn't seem this weapon has any proper scripting, so it just kinda... It has 30 bullets by default that do, like, medium damage to most dinosaurs. And the muzzle flash is kinda glitchy, too. Just like in the final. What's funny is that I actually predicted that the cult was found around here. Long before we had the prototype to prove it. Probably should have mentioned that publicly, just to see what would have happened. I don't know why I thought it'd be around here, I just felt like it fit. By the way, over here in the final, where I'm pointing, there's a lone Triceratops that seems to have no purpose on this hill other than being there. The waterfall that you can find there is also... Yeah, you can see the arm joints there. But yeah, the waterfall is also right around here too. But as you can see, there's no little gorge you have to travel through. It's just up a hill and over. And there's a single Triceratops in this level right there. Now, the Triceratops is rather glitchy, so I probably won't mess with it too much. It's just dragging its belly across the ground. What's interesting to note is that this Triceratops seems to have some unusually dark red flecks on its skin, though we think it might be a palette issue and not related to the fact that the prototype Triceratops had red skin. Whoa, okay. This is a mess. Yeah. He's just dragging himself across the ground. I think I'll leave him alone for now. Getting back on following the monorail.
As I journeyed south along the coast, the air grew moist and heavy. Metal and concrete lay rotting in the sun and the rain.
In the final, the monorail just kind of disappears. for a bit, and then it comes back. Here you can see the progress they made, though. And going up will eventually... Right around here would be where the waterfall would have been in the final, I think. I'm not positive, but basically you'd find the phone booth here, and then there'd be a little piece of the ruined monorail here, and that would allow you to get up there. Of course, everything's been shifted, so it may not even be the right location anymore. When Jungle Road was merged with Plantation House, a lot of things were moved around to incorporate the Plantation House and some of its assets, including the so-called Hidden Valleys route. Turns out it wasn't so hidden after all. That's more of a description of where it is in the final, since it's technically hidden. But yeah, basically going this way, we'll eventually run into the monorails, or that section where you had to climb the monorail, close to the end of the level. As you can see, there's pieces of wood everywhere. This might have been associated with a puzzle, but I'm not sure. I'll have to look at the 1997 walkthrough again. Now, there is a... Oh, come on, get off of me. Okay, there we go. House of Cards thing, but I don't know where this is. I don't even know if it's in this build. Can't remember the exact details, but I think it was rocks poking out of a mountain that you could climb, sort of like a House of Cards. I'm not sure, though. And I'd assume you'd have to use these to get up
In the
there.
winter, we began building the supports for the elevated transit system that would unify the island. Concrete towers rose through the jungle canopy.
And about here's where that hill is. And that leads down to the final part of the level. And if we keep going down this way, eventually we'll reach the part where the monorail track curves. Wow, I'm running out of things to say. Let's see here. Yeah, like I said, the the distance, the length of distance textures are kind of screwed up in this level. Yeah. Let's see. There's really not a whole lot to see here. Okay, here we go. This is about where the climb across the monorail tracks to get to the Plantation House would have been. As you can see from here, if you look carefully, it loops around all the way over there. Just like it does in the final.
Curving up out of the southern basin, the Atherton Causeway would bring visiting scientists north from the southern beach.
I can probably get up there, though I don't know if the track is solid or not. Anyway, getting back to Anne's black shirt model, she actually has her other white shirt model from this prototype as well. She actually has a left arm modeled, though it's static. But it seems originally they intended to have her whole body instead of just that. Like I said in my previous video, she also has leg physics. And yeah, it looks like that this does have physics on it. I'm going to guess that instead of jumping to and from things, we use this. Jumping sucks in this prototype. Yeah, this way is where the so-called Hidden Valley is. Now, there's an even earlier version of Jungle Road out there. It was actually ported from a 3DS Max file that Tatu got from one of the developers. And don't ask, because I don't know who it was. But that version has most of this stuff intact, and the colors are different. Like, this pathway is actually rust to red rather than brown. Though I think that might be because it wasn't actually textured. I'm not positive, though. Most of the stuff was in the same locations. Though for some reason that earlier version of it actually has trees placed. I'm not really sure, but Tatu mentioned something about the difference being related to them having certain things in the Max files that they didn't have in the game yet. I don't really know. Anyway, also you've probably noticed that the pathway is off-center from the actual terrain. It's not really a big deal, but it's worth noting. Now, this path eventually leads out to a beach. It's not Kathy's beach, by the way. It was intended to be a much different beach. The idea, according to the 1997 walkthrough, was to make it foreboding and lonely. And also it would have had parts of the plane Anne came in washed up on the beach. Like, the beach level would have had some too, but I think there would be more parts in this area. There's actually quite a few plane parts that didn't make the cut. Also, there's 2 unused voiceovers in the Build 96 and final versions. Whenever the height map was ported over, it was found they matched this. And they're actually in this level, so you can hear them. Whenever I get to them, of course.
In May, the rains came. The smell of the jungle was everywhere.
Yeah, there's also that. That voiceover will eventually be moved to the beach level. It's a long walk. Now, there is another location that... Okay, so we're about there. Like I said earlier, it's floating off the ground for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but it is. Which is weird because Tatu's ported version didn't have this problem. So I'm guessing there was a terrain height change at one point. Also, you may notice that the terrain's changing here. Or the ground texture, I should say. In the final, what we ended up with was a downsized version of this. There we go. That's the Mayan Pavilion. I should probably show you the Mayan head, so I'll head back there now. Okay, so I just reloaded a save and saved my previous location to another save. Anyway, the Mayan head's located down here. Right where everyone thought it belonged. Especially after the 1997 walkthrough revealed it. Then we got that earlier version of the level, and we got this. Now, basically what they
InGen
wanted...
standard safari vehicle. State of the art.
Basically, the developers wanted you to be able to push this down this hill. Also worth noting is that... Sorry, I just ate something. But yeah, as development progressed, fewer doors were left behind. In this and the earlier version, there's 2 doors to this car. In prototype build 96, there's 1 car. And then one door. And finally, in the final, both doors were removed. Probably for physics-related reasons. The hunter skeleton would have been right over here with the rock and the hunting rifle. And here's this guy. The voiceover trigger for him is actually still in the final version, but it's disabled.
You saw what happened, didn't you?
But yeah, there's the Mayan head for you right there. Probably worth noting is that you can grab his nose! Hey, I'm picking your nose! Okay. In all seriousness, though, as I said in my previous video, it seems like Anne can literally grab everything. I bet you can even grab this car. Yeah. She's dragging a whole car. That's hilarious. Oh god. Oh god, she's stretch and strong. Oh my god. Yeah, we're done fooling with this car. Now to cut to the next place I want to show you. Okay, so we're back at the monorail track. The pavilion's back that way, in case you're wanting to go there yourself. But yeah, now I'm going to just follow the tracks now that the other stuff's out of the way. Clearly they haven't leveled the tracks to the ground yet. Probably because they were still perfecting the terrain at this point. Here, there, they altered the terrain previously and didn't adjust the support beams. accordingly. Now, this thing wasn't in the final, but I guess we just climb up here like this. Whoa! Holy shit, that was a good jump. Now imagine what this place would be like in the final. Well, for one thing, it'd be lower res and uglier, but at the same time, it'd be more stable, and we could easily jump between things. But sadly, the jumping physics suck in this build, as does everything else. Well, related to Anne anyway. Also, is it just me, or does her shirt texture look like it was drawn in MS Paint? No wonder they didn't use this shirt texture. The white one has more to it. And yeah, I don't have to worry about dying because Anne's pretty much immortal in this build. Also, there's that annoying dip you have to get through. Also, Seamus Blackley, if you're watching this, I want to know what your thoughts were on the general construction of Jungle Road. And do you think your team actually finished it or not? Because it's often argued to be the most unfinished of all Trespasser levels that were included in the retail. So I'd love to hear your input on that matter. No, get up there. Yeah, come on. Ugh. Really? Whoops. I accidentally restarted the level from my last save. Give me a minute. Is it just me, or does that texture look like an evil woodchuck? Okay, so I'm back to where I was, and this time I saved here. That way, if I screw up again, I'll just end up back there. And there's that circular area. God, this place looks so much different without trees. Hopefully, Tatu converts this if he hasn't already, because I want to play around with it. Maybe add trees from the final into it, and maybe the dinosaurs too, because there's like no dinosaurs here except for that lone Triceratops, but who cares? I'm actually kind of working on a version of Plantation House that implements it into an actual level, but what I'm doing is a bit different than like Trespasser Reloaded, which is a ongoing project that hasn't had any real releases yet, and probably never will. But basically, I wanted to do some JPOG models replacements and that, and I did a few other things. Like I added the flintlock rifle that we have and that we got from one of the Trespasser developers back in the day. Yeah, there was going to be a flintlock rifle. I think there was also going to be a flintlock pistol, but I don't quite remember. Anyway, I made it to where it had only one shot, and it's mounted above the fireplace in the plantation house. I also made sure the shot was balanced. I made it more powerful than a regular bullet, but not powerful enough to down a T-Rex. It will do serious damage to most dinosaurs and be able to kill raptors in one hit. So, there's that. And yeah, we're actually approaching the end of the level. Now, I don't think it'll be any different from the final. They actually didn't change a whole lot of the general monorail path that I'm aware of. They may have moved things around a bit. But yeah, here's the end of the level. You jump off here, and Plantation House would begin. Now, there is one more thing I'm going to show you. And it's this way. Yeah. I guess while I'm walking there, I can tell you a bit more about this plantation house project I'm working on. I added an Albertosaur to the level. There's not one in the game, but there was supposed to be one because Anne was supposed to be inside the plantation house, and an Albertosaur would come along and smash it. Now, what ended up happening was that, as we all know, the AI was never finished on time, and other issues like the AI just being plain dumb prevented stuff like this from happening. Had they had more time, they may have actually been able to pull it off. Now, as for me, I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to mod the Albertosaur attack in without making it look stupid. Several parts of the plantation house are already segmented, but only one or two of them, are programmed to come off. And that a waterfall should be around here somewhere. Oh, I think I see it. Yeah, I think... Is that it? I don't really know. Nah. The waterfall area has a stone thing on it, so I'll have to locate it. It's got like a stone texture. It's amazing how many textures didn't get used in the final version of Trespasser. And there was a huge amount of them. There's probably even some we've never seen before. My headphones are falling off. Now, that waterfall should be around here somewhere. I think, anyway. Let's try this way. Yeah, I think this might be it. I hate this microphone. It's too short. It's causing problems. Okay, so let's check this way. Is it here? Yeah, I think this is it right here. Yeah. There it is, right there. This is the last area I'm going to show you because there's not really anything else to show. I pretty much showed you the whole level. Here it is. And it's a big one. It's even bigger than the waterfall we got in the final version. Now, of course, the waterfall's not complete, but you can clearly tell it's supposed to be a waterfall. Now, if you were to continue that way, eventually you'd head back to the monorail terminal. But yeah, here you go. It's even got water fully set. And the rippling effects work too. It's funny, Anne travels faster on water in this prototype than she does on land. But yeah, there you go. That's pretty much the prototype version of Jungle Road. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like or subscribe to my channel. And also share this with people if you want. I don't really give a crap. Up to you. And this has been Glitch Hunter 09, signing off.